We'll be diving into the world of HTML for beginners with a step-by-step tutorial. So if you're a beginner, this is a perfect tutorial for you for HTML in one video. Okay, let's get started and let's talk about what is HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is used to create a structure for web pages. And most of the website, actually all of the website on the internet is built, structured with HTML. And this makes a designer's life easier by providing the tags and attributes to structure the web page. Alright, so let's talk about why learn HTML. So HTML is an essential thing if you want to learn web development, or if you even want to explore the web, like how web works. So the HTML is a thing for all of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what do you need to create the HTML files, like what software or what thing you need. So you actually need a computer, and you just need a web browser here and a code editor. It might be Notepad even, and that should be fine. But in our case, we're gonna use a code editor called Visual Studio Code. This makes a developer's life easier, actually a lot easier. I'll show you how you can install that. So you just have to go ahead and search for VS Code, and open the first link. You just have to download it for whatever machine you have. So I mean Mac OS, and I already have installed this, so I'm not going to install it again. But in your case, you have to install that. Alright, so then let's just go ahead and quickly spin up a folder in my desktop, new folder, and we're gonna call this let's say HTML inline media. Alright, so let's just go ahead and double click on it. I'll go ahead and open Visual Studio Code editor and just drag this over into this code. So this is the basic UI for Visual Studio Code editor. And if you want, I'll suggest you some extension here. So first extension is Printer. This is actually a code formatter, like your code formatting thing. So you just have to go ahead and install this. Actually, these all steps are optional. If you want to install this, that's fine. If you don't want to install this, that's also fine. Alright, then we're gonna use the theme here. Just I'm using a theme, but in your case, this shouldn't be like this. So the theme I'm using is OneDark Pro. You just have to install this theme. Yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and start learning right now. So first of all, let's just go ahead and install one more extension here called Live Server. What this is going to do is this is going to refresh our web browser automatically when I save the file in my Visual Studio Code editor. So you just have to install this, and then let's go ahead and create a file here. So for HTML file, you just have to give an extension called .html after your file name. So let's go ahead and create a file called index.html. So this HTML is an essential thing, and you can just do anything you want for this index.html. And one more thing we're going to talk about, that for HTML pages, index.html is the default route for serving the web. Let me show you an example. So if I just open up here and open the google.com, it just loading the index.html by default. So you just have to put index.html and put the content whatever you want to show by default. Then you can just add links to other pages. So we're going to talk about these later. You don't have to worry about anything. Alright, let's go here, and right here we're going to write the first line of code. So we can talk about basic HTML structure. So let's go ahead and create .html. So there's tag called .html here, and then you just have to add less than HTML and greater than. So this just start with the tag, and then you just have to write the same except by adding the slash just after the less than. So this is going to be end that that tag. So this is going to start that tag, and this is going to be end that tag. So whatever you want to write, you have to write it inside of these two tags. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about this HTML. So what is this HTML? HTML is by default thing. You have to write it on every single HTML file. And then we have head tag here. So this head tag is going to be all the configuration related to this thing, and some meta tags, linking, and other stuff we're going to talk about later. And we have other tag here called body. So this body tag will contain all the pages, images, links, video, media, etc. things like that is going to be shown on the homepage like this. So all these are going to be stored in the body tag. So you also have to write these things inside of this HTML tag. Otherwise, it's not the best practice. It's gonna work, but it's not the good practice, and it's not the professional way to do that. Alright, so let's talk about this head tag. So inside this head tag, if we want to show, for example, if you want to show this text, like if you want to show this text on tab, so we just have to go here and add a tag called title. So this title tag is going to do that, this thing here, this title is going to change by that title tag. So let me just go ahead and open this with live server. So right click on this and open with live server. This option will appear only if you have installed the live server extension in your Visual Studio Code editor. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and open this file in browser manually. So I'll go ahead and click on this, open the live server. This is gonna open the live server in my browser. And as you can see, this is the blank page, and I have this index.html file. So we have this title, just the URL thing. Let me just go ahead and grab this side by side so that it would be easier for learning. Actually, let me just do something right. Alright, so now if you want to change this, you just have to go here inside head title. You just have to add the title tag, and you can just write anything right here. So let's say my first HTML file, and if you just save this by pressing Command S or Control S in the Windows, it's automatically gonna refresh this page as we have installed the live server. And as you can see, the changes we just did. This is the this is the title tag we used here, and this shows the title right here. Okay, so next we have some favicon thing right here. So we can talk about the favicon later, but inside of this body tag, we can add anything we want to show on right just inside the screen. So let's go ahead and say hi and save this. You can see we have this hi text. Let me just zoom it a little bit. And you can see this, we have this hi text here. So let's just change this to hello world. And if we save this, you can see the text we just added here. Alright, good. So now let's talk about the meta tags. We have some meta tags here. Like for example, if you go here and press Command D, actually open the page source, right click on it and view page source. You can see here, just ignore this part. These are not going to be anything about our code. This is just going to be for the live server, as you can see here. So here you see this title, and we want to just go ahead and open a website such as Google and right click on it and view page source. As you can see here, we have some meta tags here. These are going to be essential for SEO purposes and for responsive web design. But for now, we don't need to know about this. We can talk about this in later on this video, but let's just leave this for now. Okay, so next thing is, let's see how we can add a heading tag here. So there's some formatting in HTML, such as headings. So heading can be H1 to H6. So H1 is the most important heading, and H6 is the most less important heading. So if you just go ahead and add H1 tag here, and we also have to close this tag, so we'll just go ahead and select that slash and H1. So you just have to type that. Inside of this, if you just type anything like heading, let's say my heading, and save the file, it's going to be add the heading here. And notice here that it is a big text with the black bold text here. So this is the H1 heading. And if you go here and copy the same thing, just add here H2, I'll say my H2 heading. You see this H2 heading is a little bit smaller than this H1 heading. Let me just change this to my H1 heading, as you can see here. So because we added the H2 here, it's a little bit smaller than H1. Now there are 6 types of heading: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So you can just type all the other things here. Like, let me just go ahead and copy all of this. H3. So how I did the copy here is just press Command C and Command V. So for Windows, it's going to be Control C and Control V. All right. So let's say H3 here, H4, H4. We'll just go ahead and H4 here, H5, H5, H6, H6. You just also have to rename this closing tag, as we are using Visual Studio Code Editor. And let me show you a setting here called length edit. Length edit. So length editing. So if you just enable this, if you just change this thing to something, it's also going to change the closing bracket automatically. This is the feature of VS Code anyway. Alright, so let me just go ahead and save the file. Now, as you can see, we have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So H1 is the largest heading, and H6 is the smallest heading. Alright, so this is the thing that you have to know for now for headings. Now let's talk about the paragraphs here. So let me just go ahead and delete them. Let's just change this to my heading. And there's a paragraph tag, like where you just write the paragraph and normal texts. So that is going to be P tag here. And inside of this, you can write any text. So let's say hello world, right? And save this file. As you can see, this is a simple paragraph, and this is a large text, and this is a small text. So this is a simple paragraph, and this is a heading. As you can see in a lot of the websites like Wikipedia, you see the title and then you see the description. Right. So let's go ahead and generate lorem some dummy text. So if you just say lorem and add some word, number of word, we'll say 50 word. This is a emit feature on Visual Studio Code that is going to be generate a lorem ipsum with 50 characters. 50 words of length. So if you are using another editor, you just have to type them manually or copy from internet and paste it here. Let's go ahead and grab them. And if we press Alt and Z, it's going to be word wrap. Right, so let's go ahead and save this now. As you can see, we have some text here as paragraph, and we have this heading right here. All right, so this paragraph is a tag for organizing paragraphs, just like the headings as we just see them. Okay, so now we have some other tags for formatting, such as for making a text bold, italic, or underlined. Let me show you them right there. So, for example, if you want to make this lorem ipsum text bold, what we're gonna do is just add B tag and close the B tag here, and inside of that we say lorem ipsum, and we're gonna save this. As you can see here, it just make this text bold. So one more thing noticeable here is if you see that I just write this B tag inside of this paragraph. So you can even write them outside of the paragraph right here. So let's say my bold text. Save that, and as you can see, it just bold the text here. So why we have to write this B tag inside of this paragraph? Because we want to organize this paragraph with this B tag, right? That's why we just write them inside of this paragraph tag. But if you just want to add add a bold text, you just write this B, and inside this B tag, you just write your text, as we did right here. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see. For example, if we want to just add this line underline, so what we want to do? So we just go here and add the U tag. U tag is for underline, and we just go ahead and close this tag after this word. So if you save this, you can see we have a cool little underline on this text word, right? And let me tell you something here. So if you want this text to be underlined and bold, what do you gonna do? You just have to wrap this with the U tag. With the U tag here. Let me just do that there. And let me just close this after this B tag. So you just have to wrap this B tag and its content with the U tag. So it is going to be in the bold and underlined. Right. So it can be it can be reversed, like you just add the U tag first and then B tag here. So let me just go ahead and grab this and reverse this. Let me just remove that. Alright, so now it's working like the same. Okay, so there's one more thing, that if we just go ahead and grab this U tag and paste that here, like we just start this B tag, started U tag, our content, and then we just close this B tag first and then U tag. So this is not the appropriate way to closing the tags. You just have to close the tags in order you just open them. So we have opened this B tag first, so you just have to close this B tag at the end. Right, so let's save this and let's see. It's still gonna work, but it's not the correct way to do that. Let me just go ahead and make this like previous thing. Okay. Alright, now what if I would just want to make it italic too? So we're gonna wrap it with a tag called I tag. So this I tag is going to make our text italic. Let me just go ahead and hit enter here. These formatting, as you can see, these are from Prettier. We just installed the extension. So it also italic the text. You can even do them on these paragraph or whatever you want. Let me just show you a quick example too. Inside I tag. So here's one more thing. If we just say I, and if you look at this is going to give you all the tags related to I in Visual Studio Code Editor. So you can just hit enter on it. So you just go ahead and append that I tag, and then you can put any content you want right there. Okay, as you can see, we just have this italic text right here. Alright, cool. Now let's talk about comments in HTML. Let me just go ahead and grab delete all of this. And let me just add a paragraph here with lorem some text. Alright, so now, for example, if you want to add a comment, so what's comment? So comment is a thing that is not going to show in your web page, but it is going to show in your code, like for a helper text. For example, if you just want to let yourself remind that this is a heading, right? I mean, I know this is a stupid example, but for example, let's say, so just type less than, exclamation point, or mark whatever, and then double dashes, and it is going to autocomplete your next step as it is the VS Code, right? So what you have to do is double dash again and add a greater than. So inside of this tag here, if you write anything like my comment, it's not going to show in the web right here, but it is going to be shown in my code. right? And if you just want to go ahead and view the page source, it's going to show that comment, as you can see here. So yeah, that's fine. So let me show you a shortcut key for comment. So you just type Command for Mac and Control for Windows and the slash, and it is going to be a spin up a comment tag for you, and you can just write any comment right here, right? And it is not going to show in the web. All right, and then next we have links. Let me go ahead and quickly create a new page here. Let's say about the HTML. And right here, let me show you one more shortcut. If you add exclamation point, and you can see we have emit a snippet here. So if you just click on this, this is going to generate you a basic boilerplate of HTML. So as you can see, we have some new tags here. We have this doc type HTML. So this is nothing more than a thing that is going to be make sure that your web page is going to work properly. And you just have to know this thing for right now. You don't have to, know about more about this thing right now. And then we have a language attribute here for HTML. So you can add this language HTML, a language attribute here for letting the SEO, like Google search engine bot, know that this is our English page, not any other language, right? So if it's something else language like Arabic, you just say A and R. So it's going to be spin as Arabic language, right? And let me just go ahead and make it English. And then see this meta charset UTF-8, right? So what this is going to do is, like if you add some symbols, for example, this is going to work, make sure that it is going to work properly. And this thing is going to be for, capable for the oldest browsers that will make sure your page is capable for running it on the oldest browser like Internet Explorer. I know it's dead, but still. And then we have meta viewport, content width, device width, and all this thing. So you don't have to actually memorize all of this, just understand how they work and what are they. So this is going to be make sure that your website is going to be capable of running the media queries in CSS. We're not learning CSS, but if you learn the CSS, you will understand that there are media queries that helps your website to make it responsive for mobile devices and tablets and other device screens. So for them, it is essential for responsive websites. So we're going to talk about these later when we see the CSS course upcoming in the channel, right? And then we have this title. We already talked about this title. Let me just change this to About Us, right? And if we just go ahead and type here H1 About Us and a paragraph, like let's say, hello, welcome to our about page, and some of the text is we have to add. All right, now if we just go ahead and change this URL to index, instead of index.html, if you say about.html, it is going to open the about.html page, right? So this is fine. But what if we let me just go ahead and open the index.html file. As it is the default file, we can just run it. We don't have to specify the .html, index.html. So it is the index.html, so it is going to be run by default to the browser. So what if we just want to link the about page from this file, right? So what we're gonna do? So for that we have a tag called A. So A tag, and right here we will type anything like, let's say, go open about us, right? I will save this. As you can see, we have a simple text, but it's not clickable or anything. So for making this clickable, you just have to type here href. So what this href is going to do? So this href is like a link or the page name, whatever it is. So you just have to type this href, and it is a tag. So you just have to add equal and then double quotes or single quote, whatever you want, right? And inside of this, you just have to type the file name. So in our case, it is the about.html, as you can see. So we're going to say about.html. And now if we save this file, as you can see, we have our underline here on the link, as it is the link and it is the clickable point right here. So if we click on this, it just redirect me to this about us page, right? Let me just go ahead and open this about page, and let's add a link here too. So it's a anchor tag, href, and we just want to link this to my index.html file. So it's a index.html, and inside of this, you just have to close this tag, as it is the VS Code is just doing this automatically. All right. Now inside of this anchor tag, we just have to say, like, let's say anything. Let's say go to home. All right. We have this link here, and if you just click on this, go to home, it just opens this home page here. All right. This is fine. Now, what if you just want to add a link to home page for external website like google.com? If you just want to open the google.com when you click on a link, so how you do that? Let's go ahead and copy this anchor tag here, and let's say go to Google. Let's say, for example, you just have to, you just can add any website you want. So we have a link here, go to Google. So if we just click on this, it just direct me to about page, right? So what if we just want to link the Google's web page to this link? So for that, you have to type here the website link. So first of all, you just have to say protocol HTTPS. In most of the website is going to be HTTPS or HTTP. So Google is HTTPS, that's why we just type HTTPS. And then we just have to type the domain name of the website. So it's a google.com. So now if you save this, if you click on this, it just redirects you to the google.com, right? So you can also go ahead and click on this URL bar and copy the link here and put that here. It is the link too, right? That's fine. Now let me just go ahead and go back and reload this. And if you click on this, this is also going to work same. But what if you just want to open this in new tab, not on the current tab, because it is our website and we just want the user to open the other website of somewhere else. So we just probably don't want to open this on the same tab. So for opening this in new tab, you just have to type one more attribute here called target, and inside here we just say _blank. So what this is going to do is just open this in new tab. So if we save this, if you click on this now, it just opens me on the new tab, and as you can see, we have the old tab here too. All right, great. Now we have some other values for this target. So some other are parent. So parent is going to be something like if you have an iframe. We're going to talk about this later, but if you have an iframe, it is going to be open that, outside of that iframe. So you don't have to think about them. Just and this self is going to be on the current page. Like if you add the self, it is going to be open on the same page. And top is going to be for iframe as well. So you don't have to worry about that. Any of these, it's just going to be working with this blank _blank most of the cases. So let's go ahead and save this. And what if it was just want to get this link in next line? So for that, you just have to type the paragraph there. So paragraph, and inside of this, you just have to say this link. Now save this, and as you can see, it is on the next line. All right, great. Now let's talk about the, if you just want to open this link, like when someone clicks on this link, you just want to open this open specific section of the same page. So how do you do that? Like, let me go ahead and create one more heading here, second section, and a long paragraph. So paragraph, and lorem ipsum with 100 words of text. And save this now. As you can see, we have this section here. I mean, one more paragraph and heading. Let me just go ahead and create one more section by copying this, putting that in here, and let's call this third section. Save this. So we have the second section, third section. So what if we want like open about us? We're gonna create one more link here. So when someone clicks on that link, it should be redirected right here. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and create a new link here. Let's go to third section, right? So we have this link, but how we make this working properly? So we have this third section, right, heading. So for redirecting on the same page but in a different section, we need to use a attribute called ID. So let's go ahead and add this ID. So this ID is going to be unique for each and every tag on the same page, right? So we're gonna have to say it's a third section. And note one more thing, you can't add space here. You can add underscore, camel case, hyphen, but you can't add any space. And it can't also be start with the numbers. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this ID here, and let's go ahead and open in this link, remove this link from href, and you have to add hashtag to it, and then paste the ID of the section. So hashtag and then ID. So I'm going to save this now. Let's go ahead and go to top, and if we click on this, go to third section, it redirects me to this third section, right? So cool, right? And now, okay, let's go ahead and let's talk about the div section. So what is div? So div is a tag that makes your multiple different tags inside of it, like multiple different tags wrap with a div, right? Let's say if we just want to grab this and type div tag inside of this tag, we just have to paste this, right, and save this. Now it will work same, but this is going to be wrapped with a div. So div means like, this is a simple block of line. Like if we have, let's say if we have these two links right here, right? So we have these two links, and if we just go ahead and make, move these two inside this div, this is going to be next one, right? That is because we have wrapped this with a div. So this is a separator of different type of element in your page. So this is what you have to know for now, right, about this div. And you can also, and let me just delete this, and you can also add this ID to the div, and if you click on this, this is going to work same. So this is the recommended way of doing the section redirect. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the images, like how you can add the image to web page. Let me just go ahead and delete all of this unwanted section, or let me go ahead and open the about us page, right? Let's say we want to add image to about this page on the top here. So let me go ahead and grab an image from Unsplash. So Unsplash nature news. Let me just open this. Alright, so quite to Dan Aragon for this image, right? Now let me go ahead and download this image. Let's say download free. And here in VS Code, if you drag the image directly to this file manager panel, it's going to be moved to here. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and rename this file to about us. Let's say image. Okay, image.jpg. So how you just going to be include this image to here? So for that, you just have to type one tag like image img, and it is a self-closing tag. So there are two types of tags. One is self-closing tag, and one is non-self-closing tag. So self-closing tag is just doesn't have any closing tag. It's self-closing like this. So you just add this slash and greater than. You don't have to type it like this, right? So this is not the appropriate way for writing the image tag. This is the appropriate way. All right, so let's go ahead and add a attribute inside an image tag called src. src stands for source. So you just have to basically add the image source here. So the image is on the current directory here with image.jpg. So we're going to go ahead and say image.jpg. We will also have to add the extension to it here. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It can be PNG, JPG, GIF, or any other format that represents the images, right? Now let's go ahead and save the file. And as you can see, we have that image, right? But it is too big. Let me just zoom it out. So as you can see, it is too big image. So let me go ahead and zoom it a little bit. So how it is going to fit on the page? That's the question, right? So for that, we have two more attributes on the image. Actually, there are many more attributes, but we have two more attributes, that is width. It is going to specify width. Let me just add, let's say 100 pixels. So this is going to be an image of 100 pixels of width. So if you just save this, as you can see, it just has this 100 pixels of the width. So if you want it to be 250, for example, save this, it's just 250. What if we just want to make it full screen, right? So we can do here 100%. And then you have to write the percentage symbol and save this. And now it is going to be 100%, right? If we zoom out, you can see it is 100%. If we zoom in, it's 100%. That's fine. Now, let me just go ahead and add this 150 pixels. And there one more thing called height. So height is going to be the actual height, the length of the image. So let's say we want this of 300 pixels of height. So as you can see, it is 300 pixels of height, but it is this 150 pixels of the width. So it is not the appropriate, aspect ratio for this image. That's fine, but if you just want to make it auto layout, so you just say auto and hide. So it is going to match the height with the width itself. It can also happen with the width. So let's just say we want of 300 pixels of height and we want the width to be auto match. So you just say this, and it is going to be 300 pixels of height and to auto the width. That's fine. Now, for example, for now, we'll just go ahead and grab this 100 pixels, 100% of the width, and height could be auto. All right, great. Now, what if this image path is wrong? Let's say this image 3. We don't have any image 3 on our directory. So if you save this is not going to load, but instead it's just going to be this by default image symbol, right? And what if we want to show a text here, right here, if the image is stored there? So for that, we have a attribute called alt. So in alt attribute, if you just say, let's say my image, and save this, and just showing the my image tag here with this image symbol. Okay, great. Now what is next is, let me just go ahead and make it undo here. Good thing it's good. And let's go ahead and add a list here. So for adding list, we will say ul tag unordered list. It means unordered list. And inside of this, we're going to type li. That is going to be list item. Let's say my first list So it is going to be my first list, and then we have, you can add multiple li inside this eval tag actually. So li, let's say my second list, let's starting actually. Yeah, so you can add much more as you want here. So there are one more type, actually there are two more, but we're gonna talk about two on this video. So there are one other list item types, that is OL, that is ordered list. Like if you want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this way you can just add this OL and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this way it is going to be ordered that list items. Okay, that's fine. Now let's go ahead and remove this thing here. And now let's say, for example, if you want to add a table here with the table, so we have a tag called table. Inside of that you have to write tr, that is going to be table row, and inside of this we have td, that's going to be table, and the table item itself. And inside of this, if you type, like, let's say first column, you see this is the first column. Let's go ahead and add a attribute called border in the table, so it just shows us the border outside of this table. Okay, let me just go ahead and add another table column here. Let's say second column. You see this is the second column. Let me just quickly go here and remove this cell. Actually, okay, never mind, that does not exist here. Okay, all right, so now if you just go ahead and add one more row, let me just go ahead and grab the same thing here and put this. You see we have the second row here. Let me just go ahead and say second row first column. So you see this second row first column and second row here. So that's fine. Now what if you want this to be in the heading, like this thing, you want this as a heading and this is going to be normal row. So for that you can just replace this td into th, so table heading. Let me do that for this too. You also have to rename this closing tag, and it is going to be a definition as heading. So it is bold, centered, aligned, and all the other stuff here. So that is fine. Now let's go ahead and talk about a little bit more about image. I missed one point here. That is, let's go ahead and wrap this image with a div and add a paragraph here. And let's save this. So as you can see, we have a paragraph and we have an image. Let me make this a little bit smaller with say 150 pixels. So what if you want this to be on center, this image? So you say align, that's going to be center. Okay, start working. So if you just say left align, it is going to be the alignment with this. This is going to match the align with the paragraph or whatever text you have here. So if you say right align, it is going to move this to right, as you can see here. So this is cool attribute for the image tag. That's fine, but for now we're going to delete them and make the image as it was. All right, good. Now, okay, let me go ahead and create one more page here for, let's say, contact us, contact of HTML. And we're gonna generate the boilerplate of the HTML. Contact us. And let's say h1 contact us. Sorry. And we're gonna link the contact us to homepage. So we're gonna go ahead and open homepage. We're gonna link the contact here. Open contact us. Save this, and we see this contact us page. So if you click on this, it opens the contact us page. I'll just make it capture with it. All right, now we want a form here for contacting us. So how do we do that? For that, we have a form tag here. Right here, we have a form tag opening and closing tag here, and inside of here we have input. So we have an input tag that is self-closing tag, and it is going to be having a type attribute, can be text by default. So if you just save this and just see text input for typing any input you have, right? So it can also be email, as you can see here, email. So for email purposes, so if we just hit enter, it's going to submit the form, but it just also asking me to add a value, right? And then we have a number. So you can't type any text here. Instead, you can just type the numbers. And then we also have some others. You can just figure them out from here. But let me show you one more here. That is checkbox. So if you see here, we have this checkbox here for nice little checking thing. And then we have a radio. That is going to be a radio button. Let me just go ahead and add two more here. But here you see this two radio, but what if you just want it something like this? Like if you click on this, it can't be select this one. Like when you click on this, it's just going to want to select this and select this one. So for that, we have a attribute here called the name. So we just have to say the same name to both of these. So let's say my radio. Let's add a hyphen. You can't add space, but you can't add special characters or spaces. We'll just go ahead and copy this and add the name here with the same name here. Let me go ahead and click this and click it again. It's just not going to select this one, but it is going to select this, right? So this is a switch thing, right? Okay, now it's fine. Let me just go ahead and delete this. Let me just add a label here. So this label is going to be pretty much like the paragraph, but instead it has some special features. I'll tell you about them. So it's a full name and add an input here with text. So we have full name and text. We have this for attribute for label. So this for is going to be something like when you click on this label, it's not going to happen anything for now. But when you click on this, it is going to autofocus this input field. So how you do that? For that, you have this for attribute, and in input, we have ID. So this ID, that's a full name. So we're going to copy this ID and put that in for and save this. Remember that IDs can be, specified for one. So it is going to be unique. So you can't add this full name to any other input or div or anything you have. So if you click on this full name, it's going to focus on this input. That's fine. Now let's go ahead and wrap this inside our div. And let me just go ahead and copy this. And let me just say email address. Email. We have this email. And we're going to say here email. The type of the input field. Okay, so what if you want a spacing between this full name and email? So you can do that by using BR tag. So it is also a self-closing tag. So it's a BR, and it is going to have a one line break here. That's fine. Now, let me go ahead and copy this BR and do that. Copy it, and it's a phone. Which a phone, the same thing as you write in for here, and this is not the number type. So you just type the number here, and email, and full name. Okay, then let me go ahead and add one more here. That is going to be a message, right? What is your message? And let's say label. It's going to be message. Put that here. I will say text. So as you can notice here that this text field is not enough for messages, because messages needs to be large and long text fields. So for that, we have a text area that is a non-self-closing tag. Just add this and close the tag here, and remove this here inside of it. And let's go ahead and save this now. You see, we have a text field, and we can resize this how we want it, right? Let me just go ahead and delete this. Okay, now let's add a line break after this VR2. Okay, now we have a calls attribute for this text area. So there is going to be how many columns you want for this text area. Let's reload this. You see it like right here, but we want it to be here. So how we do that? Let's say 20 columns. So you see, let's add some more. It's 30 columns. So you see we have this a little bit longer, right? And then we have some rows here, like how many rows you want for initial stage. So let's go ahead and say 10 rows, and it's going to be a long text area, as you can see here. And you can even resize them as you want. All right, so what if we want a default text here? Like, let's say, heart. I want some help about HTML. By the way, we have a Discord server that you can join for any problem if you have. So you can ask on the Discord server, and we can help you together. All right, so we have this default text. As you can see, we have this text, and we can edit this. This is the default text for text area, right? And what if we want the default text for full name? So let's go here and say value, and this value is going to be the default value for this full name. So let's say Sahar. So let's save this, and we see this text here. So if you just type anything else, it's not going to be, this is not a placeholder, this is a value, so it can be edited. All right, so let's reload this, and it's been that text again here. Okay, cool. Let me delete this. So what if we want to add a helper text, like a placeholder? So it's a placeholder, and this attribute is going to be, show a watermark text inside of this input field. Let's say e.g.missile, and you see this e.g.missile, but this is not actual text. You can just type anything here, but it is just like for placeholder. You can add them for text areas as well, just like we did here. Let me just delete this before then. Press order. Let's say your message. So it's your message here. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now what if we want to add a button here? Let's go ahead and add that too. It's a button. We have button tag here, and inside of that you can type anything. Let's submit, right? And you can see we have a button, and that's fine. Now what if you want, like when you click on this button, all these are empty field, but you want all these to be required? So what you can do here is you can add a required tag in the input field. So we have a required tag. I just put that, and if I submit this, you see this please fill in this field. It just shows the alert here. So if I just go ahead and grab this to all of it, even on the text area, all these is going to be required, right? So it's the full name. I submit. We have the email. It's a test. But if I submit it again, it's just asking me to put the valid email, as we have set the type to email. Let's say test@gmail.com. Submit. Phone number. Let's say anything new. And submit. We see this message is also required. That's fine. So it's a hi and submit. So it's now going to be submit the form. Alright, that's fine. Now, okay, let's add a checkbox here. Let's say we add our input field. Let me just add this BR. then input field with type of checkbox, and we want the label here just after this. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this inside of here. Let me add this to the terms, right? And we're gonna also add I to it, terms. Let's say I agree to terms and conditions. Okay, so I agree to terms and conditions. So if you click on this text, it's going to check this checkbox as we have on this input fields. Okay, that's fine. So now if you press all of this thing, and now if you submit, it is submitting. But what if you want this to be required? So you just simply type in required here. And now if you just say anything, submit, it is not going to be submit. It's just please tick this box if you want to proceed. So you tick that and submit, it's now submitted. Now let's add a line here. Let's say a divider. So how you do it? For that, we're gonna go here and say HR. It's also going to be self-closing tag as it is as like the BR. So save this, and you see we have a line here. All right, I think these are the pretty much thing for the form. And now we have some semantic elements in HTML5. So let's go ahead and open this about. Let me just go ahead and open about us. As you can see, let me go ahead and delete this table. Okay, now here, let's say we want to add an article here. So for that, we have a semantic element that is article. And inside of that, you can just type a paragraph and put an article. So it is the same thing as the div, but it is more meaningful to the Google engine bot, search engine bot. And you can add some more paragraphs here, right? So it is a good practice to use article semantic element for the articles here. And let me show you one more thing here. Let's say we want a nav point header. So it's a header. We have a header semantic element here. And then we have a nav bar, nav. We have a nav semantic element. Let's say it's a div. It's my HTML product, right? Save this. You see we have this text here, and then we want some links, eval, li, and anchor tag with the index.html. I'm gonna go ahead and open home here. So inside of list we have this link tag, right? Let me go ahead and copy this list item 3 times. It's about here, and we have the contactors, contact. Okay, now we have the 3 links, and it is inside the header and nav for. Actually, these are the same as the div tags, but this is the meaningful way to write the code. Now we also have a side tag for sidebars, but that is not important for now. So you can just learn them later on when you have the understanding of these basic HTML things. Now we also have a footer tag here. So it's a footer, it's a copyright, and it's a copyright 2023 on right result. So if you go ahead and bottom, you can just see this copyright text. That's fine. Now, I think these are the basic semantic elements on HTML5. So this is where a small course for HTML5, and there are a lot more to learn about HTML. For that, let me just suggest you a website here called developer. Search for developer Mozilla, and here search for HTML. So click on this HTML, and as you can see, we have this HTML courses on their website. They are a very, very cool website for learning HTML or any other programming languages that they support. Like, for example, we have this anchor tag. So we're going to click on this, and you can see we have a playground here. And you can see the live preview here. And it just explains all of it, right? We have the download tag and file name, all of it. href tag, that URL, right? So that's fine. If you want to learn more about it, you can just check out other resources only online. And I'll, recommend you to check out this developermozilla.org. That's a great website for learning for beginners, I think. And I think that is it.